Make a life for myself. 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 Make a life for myself.
I want to.
Make a life for myself.
Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls from all over the world, my name is Brandon, aka Rags Riches, aka the CEO, CFO, C of all those. You guys know the drill. And as always, I'm assuming that you all have nothing else better to do. Let's check chat. Beat up G, turn up you ginge. I'm on vacation right now, but still tuning in for this letdown of a stream. Dude, I can't believe I'm doing that to you. That is a letdown. To realize you're wasting time on me during your vacation, that's unsatisfactory for this day of training, Beat up G. Yep, K in the house, Jordan. Hotel X-ray. Oh, Hotel Echo X-ray. Realism, yes. Hex realism coming your way, guys. Love it. Mackenzie in the house. Music totally rocks. A little DMB. It's all good. Texas life. What is going on? Hex Hodl. The music blows, to be honest. Thank you, Hex Hodl. See, it's so nice to be away from streaming and come back to the same people. It's almost like you guys like, comment, and subscribe to my stuff. Chad D to the power 13. Any low T crying soy boys in the chat, I will find you and I will fight you. Amanda Brandsgrove, Daily Hits, checking in. Mobius, what's up, my man? Xanon, is this going to make me drink another beer? Yeah, just drink 5, dude. It makes it go by quicker. Or slower, I don't know. KD. Who else we got? Bobby Hexelride. Can you unpack the PLSX V2 update? Yeah, we will talk about that. Moves to the grooves. All right, cool. So let's see if anybody else has anything smart to say in here. I mean, this is a low IQ chat, generally speaking. We won't have any participants in here because I didn't really give people heads up. Biden falls again. Let's go, Brandon. Yeah, I'm a redhead too. Well, you're blessed. You were blessed, Amanda Brandsgrove. here we go. Hey, and Amanda, if you're a Fed and you're just trying to use red hair to kind of build up my trust, it's not going to work. Davis, I'm not burning my fees. Richard, hi Rags, give us some ginger knowledge. So I wanted to point this out literally right before we hopped on here. Some guy made a hit piece. He made this full-blown hit piece on, hold on, let me see here. He made this full-blown hit piece on Hex and Pulse Chain, right? And I guess we can share this, yeah. All right, so I'm scrolling through. He makes this hit piece. Let me zoom in here. Yvonne, crypto, macro, blah, 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 blah. Hex and Pulse Chain, another pair of scams that crypto geeks fall for. I think he works for CoinMarketCap. All right. So they're just paid. I don't know why they hate Richard so much. I just don't get it. Like, what would cause such a large corporation to just go out of their way to pay people to FUD what we're doing? It's almost as if CoinMarketCap's being paid by somebody who wants Ethereum to win and Bitcoin to win and everything else not to. Well, that's not working on us. So I'm going through. I'm okay. Let me click this guy. Let me see what this is all about. All right, what's the first thing that pops up? Bro, he says a lot of people got scammed by Hex and Pulse Chain. Yo, he got scammed by 5th grade. He can't even spell geopolitics correct in his friggin' profile. It's embarrassing. I mean, it's like, are you kidding me? I mean, look at this dude, man. Look at that. Look at that hunk. Big old useless low IQ hunk. Oh, that's so embarrassing, dude. I mean, so I had to call him out. If you're so inclined, go to @IvanCryptoSlav and make sure you help me ratio this bag of bricks. It's right here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I need to remind you. I need to remind a lot of people. I'm getting tons of comments from folks in my DMs. People are worried. People are expecting price to be like 100,000x already, this and that. I'm going to play for you. We're going to incept today. I'm going to play for you. No, it's actually not a troll account, DJ and Dougie. That's the crazy thing. He is the author of this thing. I'm going to play for you a video that I did about 4 or 5 months ago. And this is going to outline what new charts look like, what new projects look like, what to expect, what not to expect. So I think it's important because there's so many people freaking out. I had my buddy call me last night. God bless his soul, man. And if you're on Twitter has got to be just designed to fudge you out of your bags. Absolutely fudge you out of your bags. I mean, it gets people freaked out. It gets people text messaging and calling and freaking out and dumping and, oh my gosh, scam. It's not. We just chill. We just chill, relax, and we take advantage of what the market gives us. That's it. It's that simple. The hard part is the emotional part. All right, so we're going to share this. Let's take a look at some charts. Actually, shout out to Cosmo Jenkins. Shout out to Jenkins for I learned how to do this multi-chart view, so we can quickly like scan over all of our favorite stuff here. Now, can I zoom in? Whoa, yeah, I can zoom way in. All right, first thing we'll take a look at here. I'm going to show you guys a couple things. Here's Texan. Okay, I think this is actually pretty neat. So we got Texan here. You know, we had a pretty substantial pump to the upside. Now, is this all wacko now? There it goes. Okay. Pretty substantial pump to the upside, like a 16x. We're up 16x right now. At the top of this thing, we're up about like a 47x. So 16x, which is pretty cool. 17x now. We've had a, 50 to 60% correction. Let's check. Yeah, 60% correction. Once you start getting into about the 60 to 90% correction range, that's typically a hot spot in order to be able to get some good positions. Now, here's what's interesting. All right, I was looking over this earlier. You guys see the Texan chart? Let me move my head out of the way. Look at the Texan chart. Look at the Pulse chart. And look at the PLSX chart. I mean, they're almost freaking identical. Isn't that cool? Isn't that Hart's Law? I'm showing you Hart's Law right now. That is so neat to look at. That is so neat to watch. Okay. So two assets bonded together by their liquidity in pools will move up and down with each other. And that's what we're seeing right now. A majority of Texan's liquidity is in Pulse. So I think that's pretty neat. Pretty neat to watch. And in fact, you see a little bit of a different story. When you go to Hex, you see a little bit of a different story when you go to Hedron. And let me go to the day chart here. In Icosa. All right. So Hex, Hedron, and Icosa look much different than Texan, Pulse, and Pulse X. So I find that very, very interesting too. And I'm sure there's a reason why. We could check what the predominant liquidity is in each one of these charts. And also I've got like DAI on here. I've got the PLS DAI chart just because it's USDC. Or it's not USDC, it's stable coin. So let me check chat here, see what you guys have to say before we keep moving on. Guys, this stuff is completely normal. All right, so Texan drops. Let's check Pulse here. So Pulse pumped. What was this? How much X? You had like a Pulse pumped about almost a 10x, right? Well, that's on this chart. I think it was higher on different pairs here. But from the top, it's corrected down about 60%. All right, so interesting, just like Texan. Let's go to PLSX. Let's check. And I'm just going to assume, I'm just going to go out on a limb here and assume that it's going to be the same story. It certainly looks like the same story, doesn't it, folks? All right, so we'll go here. We'll measure from top down. 65%. Again, 60 to 90% range. That's where you typically see these corrections when projects first launch. And you can really consider this to be a first launch for all of these assets that were on Ethereum. They've moved over. These are brand new charts. And you got to remember that they're brand new charts here, folks. All right. Hex PLS. Let's check this. So the Hex chart, I think that might be a little bit of a bigger correction because this wick was so high. So it's about 67%, which is completely normal. Guys, here's how you know that there's so many speculators. These charts, dude, look at these charts. There's so many people that wanted to ride that quick pump and they're going to get out. That's just the name of the game. In fact, I got to say this, it's true. It's probably like 75% of you guys are these speculators. And it is what it is. You know, I'm not going to shame. I'm not going to shame. I don't have the, I just don't have the time to try to trade charts anymore. And I wasn't that good at it anyway. Sometimes I got lucky. But I wised up and I just accumulate. All right, let's check the Icosa Hex chart real quick. Let's see the fall from grace here. So Icosa is actually performing better than just about all of them now. It's only about 50% down. So one little thing that I do like to actually use, and I'll go to the PulseX chart here. One thing I like to use is the fib retracement. What the fib retracement, this is, I mean, scientifically speaking, guys, you take the very bottom, you go to the local top, and you can draw these Fibonacci retracements. And basically, this will kind of give you an idea of some of the levels that you can see the price kind of bounce off of if it wants to do a reversal. And it's pretty interesting to watch too. Like at the 0.382 level, we had a little bit of interaction. Certainly at the 0.5, so 50% retracement. We had a lot of interaction there. It fell through that. It busted straight down to 0.618. It kind of bounced off that twice, and then it fell through again. The question is it going to fall through again? I don't know. It might fall through again. We could be, guys, we could be in the 60 to 90% range with these corrections, and this is completely normal based on what I'm about to show you. Actual information. People say, "Are you worried, Brandon? Are you scared?" Guys, what's there to be worried and scared about? The damn chain works. Okay? The chain works. Probably one of the biggest times to be scared was when it first launched. but it works and it's great. And if you listen to Richard's stuff, you listen to my stuff before we launched that had Richard clipped. At this point, we're just focusing on priorities, and then we're going to scale outwards from there. We're going to fix the other layers that need to be fixed and update and upgrade. And this is great, guys. This is awesome. Don't let these people freak you out. Don't let them freak you out. It's going to be a long ride. Don't get me wrong. It's already been a long ride. I do happen to think that we're closer to the bull market than closer to the beginning of the bear. Okay. The last bear. So I think we're definitely past halfway there. So, let's go. Anthony Munoz scooped up a good chunk of Icosa on the east side. Good stuff. So we're going to talk about the first thing that I want to talk to you guys about.
I want to intro.
I'm going to show this video in a second. The first thing I want to talk to you about, and I'll turn the volume down here. I want to talk to you guys about a video that I did. We're going to incept you. I'm going to be reacting to a video that I did, which is cool, weird, whatever. But it's going to give you a lot of good information, and I think a lot of people found it valuable before. And after that, we're going to kind of talk about maybe what to expect moving forward over the next 12 to 18 to 24 months here. All right. Oh, this is good. This is actually a very, very stunning shot of rags to riches here. I mean, look at this. Look at that. I'm almost wearing the same thing, different hat. I don't have my hellbender on. All right, so I'm going to actually decrease my face here so you guys can see this. And I might pause and just make some comments. And we might even be able to look at some charts to see if all this stuff lined up properly. So let's go here. You got to understand how it operates, things of that nature. So what have I noticed? I have noticed in the cryptocurrency world, especially if there's any sort of pre-sale prior, you've seen this a lot, or any type of allocation prior, the first 60 to 100 days is the most important time for gains in many cryptocurrencies. Not all, but many. Okay? So I'm going to kind of show you what I'm talking about. Let's take something that we all know here. And we all know Hex, right? This is the Hex chart. This is UniSwap V1, so it goes all the way back. All right. Let's take a look at this. So if we go back in time here, we go back in time to, December of 2019. What are we going to see? Well, we see that there is a sell-off followed by a pump. Now, what's the pattern that we're going to look for here? From that opening price, when do we get back to that opening price? How many days? It was about 60 days. 60 days to get back to that open price. So Hex opened up, Hex sold off, it found a bottom, and then it returned to that opening price about 60 days later. Now you guys can't tell this, but there's actually a pump candle there too. All right, so there was a pump initially, and then it actually sold off quite a bit. I mean, it sold off like crazy. So and then so you see that bottom, and then eventually the sellers run out, the speculators run out. So that's what you're kind of seeing here. Another thing, important thing, and I was speaking about this prior to Pulse Chain launching. I said, guys, listen, the sacrifice rate for the whales is different than the sacrifice rate for most other people. If they got that bonus multiplier, the question is, it was in my Pulse Chain strategy video right before launch. I said, the question is, are these guys going to be, where are they going to be selling off? They can sell off past most people's sacrifice rates, 1 to 10,000 with a low multiplier. They got a very high multiplier. So they're still in profit, even though most people think they're selling underneath sacrifice rate, because they're not. They got a lot more coins because they ranked higher and they put more money in. So, that's also definitely a reason why things are selling off. Now, it went back after that, but here's the important thing. That first 60 days, and really, I think I can hold shift here, right? Yeah. For about 20 or 30 days, it took 30 days, 20 to 30 days for Hex to find its bottom. So what's the thing here what's the thing we need to learn here? Well, we need to learn this. If we had gone all in and aped in on day one, then for the next really 60 to 90 days, we wouldn't have had any powder to participate, right? we wouldn't have any powder to participate in those lower lows. Now, why is that important? Well, I'm going to tell you why that's important. Let me reset the chart here. We'll go to this. All right. So let's go from opening price to all-time high for Hex. Opening price to all-time high was about a 1,758x. 1,758. All right, guys, this is important. All right, and it's all about how it's framed. Most people think, okay, opening price to the Hex's top, it's a 10,000x, which it isn't. Obviously, Richard's measuring it from the bottom, and he's also made it clear that he's measuring price performance from the bottom because he put some tweets out right after launch. So it's important to talk about that. But here, I think I go into the importance of dollar cost averaging down. So I'll let Rags from the past talk. Okay. There's two Brandons, too much Rags, not enough. So if you got in, that's about where you are now. 1,758 all-time high. We can also do this to make it more applicable to our current situation. Opening price to current levels, you're at about a 60x. So if you gotten in on day one, you didn't do anything else, you're 60x up. Now, what if you had waited about, maybe you put a little bit on day one and you put a little bit on day 10 in the middle of that downtrend. See if you guys can see it here. So we'll measure that. So the middle, so I'm measuring from the middle. So from the opening price to that bottom, I'm cutting that in half, and that's where I'm measuring from. And it's kind of crazy to see the difference in X's. All right. And guys, the reason I'm going over this right now, I made this video 4 or 5 months ago, is because it's so applicable what you're living in right now. It's so applicable to what you're living in right now. Okay. So please listen to this, and please filter out all the bullshit out there. So much. Okay. There's so many people that are just emotional basket cases, man. Yeah. I mean, I get why, because they don't have any experience, but good golly, Miss Molly. Middle of day one, or the middle of that downtrend, so day 10 or so to where we are now, you're at 113x. If you waited about 10 days, you'd be at a 113x, 115x instead of a 60. All right. Now, what if you'd waited 15 days? Or did you guys hear that? If you dollar cost averaged, okay, and if you had only waited 30 days, it would be the difference between 60x and 110x. That's the power of what we're dealing with right now. Okay. No, somebody says the real Rags smells like goat cheese. I mean, Bud Light. Yeah, Bud Light. Sorry. You're right. Not goat cheese. My bad. You got some money in 15 days. Whatever money that you put in at that point in time to today, instead of a 115x, you would have been a 177x. All right. Okay, so then let's say that you had a plan and you stuck to it, and you rode this all the way to the bottom, so it bottomed out. So if you had put money in that entire time, instead of a 60x, instead of a 115x, instead of 170 or 80x, you'd be sitting in a 261x on that money if you had gotten a position at the bottom. And there's no way, you can't be a prophet. You just don't know what it's going to do. So you got to have a plan. You got to remove emotion out of it. And I know I'm beating a dead horse by telling you guys this. But here's what's going to happen. I'm just going to say this right now. I'm going to be replaying. I'm going to double incept myself in like 6 months. Hold on. Let me look at that. That is so cool. Look at that. Hey guys. I'm going to double incept myself here in about 6 months or a year. And I'm going to play this video that has old Rags older Rags with old Rags and then current Rags. And I'm going to say, guys, what did I tell you? What did I tell you? Don't let people fudge you out, man. This is the name of the game. You are in the prime spot, and you just don't know it. You don't know it. People trying to scare you, man. They want to buy your bags up. That's what's happening. I have a particularly strong, fuerte southern accent today, and I'm just going to roll with it. Let's just do it. Okay. 261x. So day 20 through 26, Mudhog says. Let me see. Let's do it.
Mudhog.
Yeah. So that's the point. You guys see how much different? That's like a 60 times 4. That's almost like a 3.5 to 4x difference if you had gotten in at the very bottom. All right. Now I'm going to show you some more here. I'm going to show you some stuff that you may or may not be familiar with. This is UniSwap. All right. We're going to kind of, again, notice some patterns that are occurring here. These beginning charts, they move significantly in about 90-day chunks. Now, sometimes it's 110 days, sometimes it's 80 days, but right around 90 to 100 days, I'd say it's important to pay attention here. If we take the top here for UniSwap, when UniSwap launched, you had about a 60-day sell-off, okay? So Run, Dream, Achieve said low IQ chat. Come on, man. Chat, I want you to burn that dude up. He's got to he's got to prove that he wants to be here now. Yeah, low IQ. That's what I said. I didn't take it back. 2 gingers, 1 chart. Woo! Pay-per-view. So we've established some sort of pattern, very similar with Hex. All right. So if we go on out to the point at which price returned to the opening price, that was about 115 days. Okay. So just like we said, these things run in about 60 to 90 days, sometimes a little bit more. But the point here is, if you invested all your money at the top here, you would have no dry powder to catch some of these lower lows. So we're going to go from all-time high. We'll go from opening price to all-time high for UniSwap. Now, I know that there was like pre-allocations and there was a lot of supply that went out, this and that. But we're just going to take the raw chart data here. If you had done that, if you got in on day 1, you're at about a 4x. All right. If you did nothing else, you're at a 4x. Now, what if you were able to catch the bottom? The money that you put in at the bottom there, you'd be a 23x. That's almost. How are you gonna catch the bottom, guys? Are you just gonna wait? You're gonna like, all right, I'm just gonna wait for this one. I'm gonna wait for this one. All right, I'm gonna show you this. Richard talks about it. He talks about it, but he doesn't show you. Let me show you this real quick. Happen to think it's important, and then we'll go back to what we're talking about here. All right. This is actually perfect. Okay. Very important for you guys to see this. So important. The most important. Okay. Let's say you bought, this is PLSX. Let's say you bought PLSX at the local high. It's like a 3013979. All right. So let's take this and let's bring it down. Boo. Okay. You're at a 67% loss. You're at a 70% loss. Let's say you put $100 in, you're 70% loss. You're sitting on $30. Okay. Gosh, that really sucks, Brandon. That's horrible. I'm never buying this crap again. This is horrible, disgusting, unsatisfactory for this day of freaking training. This ginger taught me nothing. All right, here we go. Hold on. Let me put my gingerness front and center here, because I know that's why you guys show up. There you go. Oh yeah. Giggity. All right. So you put $100 in at the top, it dropped down 70%. All right. So what point am I about to make here? Well, guess what? This entire time that it was dropping, let's just say you didn't DCA properly. You didn't DCA the whole time. You just DCA, you caught the bottom or close to it. All right. You put $10 in. And let's say you put $100 in at the bottom. All right. So $100. Okay. And it goes back to all-time high. So you put 100 at the top, you lost. You're putting 100 in at the bottom. What's happening? That 50% drop off turned into a 200% gain. You lost 50 from top to bottom, but you bought back, and when it got back to all-time high, not only did you make the money back, you made your 100 back, okay? But then you made your 100 back times 2. So you can lose 50% and it goes back to all-time high. You can gain 200%. That's the power of DCA. Then you have everything in between on this trend line here. So that's why it's so important. That's why it's important. Like everybody's like, well, I'll just buy the bottom. I'm good at timing the bottom. I've always been good at timing the bottom and blah, 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 blah. And that's why you watch Jim Cramer, you know, every friggin', is it evenings or PMs? You're like, Rags, don't act like you don't know when Jim Cramer comes on. Don't act like you don't know. But that's what it's all about, folks. And guess what? It's not only for launches. It's for all of eternity. DCA, DCA, DCA. It works. Now, if you mass buy on day one, will you be okay? You could be okay. The reason I like this technique, folks, is because it removes emotion out of the thought process. It removes me having to wake up in the middle of the night and check the charts like crazy. Now, at the beginning I was, because it's Pulse Chain, PulseX launch. You just gotta stay chill, man. Just stay chill. Stick to the plan. Do what you gotta do for about 2-3 years. Show up every week. Put a little dough in. Nothing too crazy. And one day you can wake up and you'll be like, God bless America. That ginger had something important to tell me. All right. Enough about me. Well, more about me, actually. It's a 6x difference, folks. So that's a really, really big thing. So what can we establish from this? And let's keep going here. Let's just take ASIC, for example. So that was UniSwap, that last chart. Okay. And that, let me bring it back here real quick so you can see it. So we've gone over Hex. Hex looks like UniSwap. Brand new launch. Okay. So this was UniSwap, and then we're going to go to the next one. That you put in at the bottom there, you'd be a 23x. That's almost a 6x difference, folks. So that's a really, really big thing. So what can we establish from this? And let's keep going here. Let's just take ASIC, for example, because ASIC just launched. This is a good little thing to do here. A good little exercise. All right, let's say opening price to when it returned. Look at that. It's about 60 days. It was actually, 55 days to 63 days in that period. So what did it do that entire time? Well, it sold off. Sold off. Now, let's take from now to all-time high. If you got in right now to where it is to all-time high, I can't speak. You would be at about a 1.3x. If you had waited about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 30 days, 20 or 30 days, you would be at a 2.3x. Okay, now if you had waited, what is this about? Let's see, make sure. You wait about 40 days and you put some money in. The money that you put in at day 40 to the all-time high, again, you'd be at about a 3.4x, 3.5x. And if you had managed to time the bottom or get anywhere close to the bottom on that wick, you would be at a 4x. When you're DCAing, price can go down 50%. And I think, if my math correct, price goes down 50%. You can put in 50% of the money and come out on top by a 2x. Get about a 1.2x when it reaches back to that price point that you got in. It's powerful stuff. Okay. So think about this. When you're buying at the top, in terms of multipliers, in terms of X, somebody asked me what ASIC price is now. It's buried, I think, but that's not the point. The point is the first 60 to 90 days. I'm pointing out patterns to you guys. It's very important here. So you can feel a little bit better. You know, here's what it is. I'm your freaking ginger therapist, and I'm trying to make you guys feel a little bit better about what's happening. Because I know, here's what I do know. I know it's scary. I know it's freaking scary, guys. I've been just as scared as you in the past. Guys, I'm telling you, I promise you, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a 0 fear. I'm 0 fear right now. But that's because I've been through this stuff. I've seen it so many times. I've looked at so many charts. I've been around. I've been through the fear. And it, guys, just ginger therapy. Here we go. Think about it this way. You know, you might, from day one price to the top, you might be at about a 1x. Okay. However, if you wait 50% of that downtrend, which typically lasts, like we said, like 60 to 90 days, 60 to 100 days. Sometimes more, sometimes a little bit less, but that's the sweet spot. Every single time you buy, you're increasing your average return by about 50%. Okay, through that entire period, through all those days split up evenly. So what can I learn from this? What I'm learning from this, and what I've done with many projects, is I don't go all in on day one. All right, sometimes, rarely, you will see a project open up and rip to the upside, and it never comes back to those levels. That's rare. But that's also the reason why I personally, I put money in on day one, just in case it rips and never comes back. But in any case, what's a good strategy kind of overall? So here's, okay. All right. So that's what I wanted to point out to you sick, twisted freaks of nature. Guys, chill. We're good. We're so good right now. You were sitting in a time frame and a window of maximum opportunity, folks. Okay? So just relax. Okay? Don't take advice from me. Don't listen to anybody. Just delete socials. Stick to the plan. You know, if you can go out, I don't know what you guys do. What do you guys do? You go get hungry, man, like frozen dinners, like $50 worth a week. I know most of you do. Chad D, the Power 13 dude, he crushes those processed potatoes like it's nobody's business. Wakes up in the middle of the night, it's like dripping down his face. It's like on his chest, like processed potatoes, man. Guys, if you can spend money, $50 a week on junk, on crap, might be worth it to throw it in the game, man. See what happens. Right now is the best time to do it. All right. Let's check chat here real quick, and then we're going to get into what the economy is looking like, what to expect with this. Because a lot of folks out there, and guys, I think there was a period there for about, 3 or 6 months where we did nothing but macroeconomic talks, man. I'm sharing charts. I'm going over data. We're talking about the T-bills and the Treasury inflation. We're talking just about all that stuff. Well, we're going to bring it back a little bit and remind you of one thing. When they pause these interest rates, it's going to get weird. It's probably going to get weird. Okay? Statistically speaking, we look in the past when they paused, or even when they started at, cutting rates, it got weird. So I'm going to show you. And I've shared this guy's video before. I'm just going to let him talk. I don't feel like summarizing it. Texan OG Day 1 says, right now is the time to hodl. Nothing is worth selling. The best play to make is to DCA with the dry powder and hold. The bull run will be here sooner than we think. It'll all work out, Hexconnect says. Hexy, Quinn, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. I did not get the notification. Welcome to the club. Do you want a cookie? Quinn. Fiber Finance CEO. We're so money. Dude, we're money, man. Just chill, guys. We're money. I'm going to see y'all in Vegas here in about 3 or 4 years. We're going to take over one of those bars in the middle of the casino, man. Just hang out. And I'm going to toast you, man. I'm going to say, we're so money, baby. That's what I'm going to do, Vibra. All right. Old chunk of coal. If you watched the PLSB clowns in action, you would have dumped while you still had your underwear. Well, I can't really deny that at this point. Hexy, Quinn, yes. And that's what stinks too, man. You can interview people. You can look at projects. Everything can look good. It's trustless. It's deflationary. There's this and that guy. Push comes to shove. You just never know. You never know what's going to happen. You never know if there's bad actors. You can do the best you can. But you got to be super careful too. Don't put in more than you're willing to lose always. And everyone listen. Oh, yeah. Everybody. Yeah. Live happily ever after. Vegas. Cha-ching. Okay. This is really good. Okay. This is just all encompassing. It's about 11 minutes. But in order to be a well-educated citizen of whatever country you live in, to understand the macroeconomic cycles and understand the macroeconomic picture, let's educate you, because we know that the United States catches the cold, the rest of the world catches the flu, and vice versa many times. So let's get into this here.
By telling you this. Today's video is going to be awesome. This video is for stock market investors, and we're covering the Fed pause and the Fed pivots. You need to know this information. For the past 60 years, when the Federal Reserve stops raising interest rates, so when they decide to pause, the stock market goes up an average of 6% in the following 3 months. So you might interpret that as a Fed pause will be great for stocks. That's what the stats show. But you have to remember that this is the average. If you identify the cycles where conditions were similar to today, like 69, 73, and 81, the stock market fell by an average of 6.5% in the following 3 months. Now, with that being said, you might think that, okay, 6.5%, a drop of 6.5%, that's not that terrible. Well, the thing is that that's not the bottom. We're not talking about the bottom. We're talking about just the first 3 months after the pause. So let's say that the Federal Reserve pauses on June 14th. Are we going to see something closer to the average where it causes the stock market to go up about 6%? Or are we going to see the stock market go down? Which scenario is coming our way? So nobody has a functioning crystal ball, at least to my knowledge. Therefore, we are tasked with doing our due diligence to determine the most probable outcome. So how will the stock market react, up or down? So I want to tell you how the story goes. Sooner or later, the Federal Reserve will have to pause. It's inevitable, right? So let's say that we do get a pause. When inflation is low, the Federal Reserve can afford to start cutting interest rates sooner, and they can skip over the bad part where a high interest rate environment damages the economy. So they basically just fast forward to an easy monetary policy in the financial markets. They rejoice by going up 6%. But during a period of high inflation, they can't do that. They have to keep interest rates higher for a longer period of time. And when you have a higher interest rate environment for an extended period of time, the economy suffers. Growth slows down, corporate profits fall, and this puts downward pressure on the stock markets. And take a look. No surprise, we are in a period of high inflation. So you can interpret the data however you desire, whatever your conclusion may be. At least now you know the data. Go off the average and expect the stock market to go up for 3 months after the pause, or go off similar scenarios and expect that the stock market goes down the 3 subsequent months. Okay, so I want this to be crystal clear. What we just talked about was the 3 months after the Fed pause. Now we have to talk about the Fed pivot. So the Fed pause is when they stop raising interest rates. The Fed pivot is when they start cutting interest rates. So when the Federal Reserve does their first interest rate cut, the stock market has fallen 7 out of 9 times and hit a new low in that economic cycle. In those 7 instances, the stock market has fallen by an average of 23% from the final rate hike. And you have to remember that those are the averages, so it could be better or worse. So that's the data. Those are the facts. 7 out of 9 times the stock market has fallen. The 2 times that the stock market didn't fall was in 89 and 95. In those instances, inflation was in the 2 to 3% range, and the economy was doing well. Therefore, with the Fed pivot, it is more probable than not that the stock market falls. So right now, our economic landscape does not look like 89 or 95 because right now, GDP is trending downward and inflation is above 3%. And when I say that the economy was doing well, you can determine the forward sentiments by looking at the yield curves. In 89 and 95, they were normal. Right now, the yield curves are inverted AF. Okay, now you know what to expect. And I've given you both sides of the story for the Fed pause and the Fed pivots. And again, you can form your own opinion on the matter. Now let's talk about the upcoming FOMC meeting. So is the Fed going to pause on June 14th or not? So what is the situation? So I want to share with you what our wonderful central bankers are saying because they've been talking, they've been running their mouths, and I want you to know what they said. Before we get into that, I want to tell you this really quickly to bring you up to speed. In the past 14 months, the Federal Reserve has raised interest rates 10 times in a row for a total of 5%. The Fed funds rate is currently at 5.25%. The next Federal Reserve FOMC meeting, it concludes on June 14th. So the question is, at that meeting, are they going to pause and keep interest rates at 5.25%? Or are they going to hike again by a quarter point and take us up to 5.5%? So now let me tell you what they've been saying. When Powell spoke last week at the Fed conference, he indicated that they're going to pause. Powell said that the rates right now are high enough to suppress borrowing, spending, and economic growth. He said, and I quote, "Having come this far, we can afford to look at the data and make careful assessments." So Powell is saying that he feels comfortable enough to take a pause and assess the situation. So the reason why he's saying this is because, well, he said this before. He's saying this because of the lag effect. So the Federal Reserve, they raise interest rates, and the consequence of that, it takes time for that to be seen. It takes time for the interest rate hikes to damage the economy. So the data shows that the economy, yes, it is slowing down. So you can take a look at the GDP report. Look at the last one. GDP plummeted and it came in way below expectations. So I'll tell you this. Powell he's considering a pause, and he's indicating a pause because he doesn't want to overdo the damage. He doesn't want to trigger a worse recession than is necessary. So Raphael Bostic, who's the Fed Bank President of Atlanta, he said this on Monday, and I quote, "Our policy works with a lag. I think I will be comfortable saying, let's just look and see how things play out." But I want you to know this. The Fed, they're now talking about a hop. So you might see that term all over the media. So let me explain this. So let's just say that they pause in June. They assess the data, and they realize that, oh shoot, like inflation is making a comeback. So in that case, they'll have to keep on raising interest rates. So in this scenario, if they pause in June and raise interest rates higher in, let's just say, July or September, so they're calling that scenario a hop. So the Fed, they can pause, pivot, or hop. And June 14th, it may not be a pause, it may be a hop. So basically a hop that's pause now and raise later. So the Fed Bank President of St. Louis, that's James Bullard, he's saying hop. He's saying that we're gonna hop. Bullard says that he expects 2 more interest rate increases this year because inflation is still running well above targets. So Bullard said, and I quote, "I'm thinking 2 more moves this year. Exactly where those would be this year, I don't know, but I've often advocated for sooner rather than later." So the Fed Bank President of Minneapolis, Neil Kashkari, he said, and I quote, "If we were to skip in June, that does not mean that we're done with our tightening cycle. It means that we're getting more information." However, I have to tell you this. I have to remind you of this because this is so important. So what is the purpose of all of these interest rate increases? Well, the purpose is to slow down the economy so that it slows down inflation. That's the ultimate objective. But you have to remember, the banks they're playing into this, because if the banks tighten their credit, so if credit slows or if credit dries up, it would result in the same outcome. It would result in a slowing economy and slower inflation. So that's what I want you to remember, that the banks, well, the health of the banks and credit flow, that's a very important variable. And Jerome Powell, he's taking this into consideration. He said on Friday that stress in the banking sector may slow down the economy enough where the Federal Reserve can afford to be less aggressive with their interest rate policy. So the Fed Bank President of San Francisco, Mary Daly, she said, tighter credit conditions from the banks can be equivalent to approximately 1 or 2 interest rate hikes. So I want you to remember that. I want you to keep that in the back of your mind, regardless of what they decide to do at the FOMC meeting on June 14th. If they don't raise interest rates, then it may be a pause rather than a hop if credit conditions tighten, because as Daly said, tighter credit conditions are equivalent to an interest rate increase or 2. And the Fed, well, they don't want to overshoot. They don't want to trigger a deeper recession than is necessary. But we'll see how credit conditions play out. Bostic, the Fed president of Atlanta, said that credit flow has not slowed down in his district. So Goolsbee, Fed president of Chicago, he said the same thing about his district. But yes, other districts are reporting slower credit flow. But this is why credit flow is so important, and this is why that we're going to keep an eye on it. In terms of the Fed pivots, so this is, again, when the Federal Reserve starts cutting interest rates, the probability of that happening in September is currently around 20%. It used to be about 40% not too long ago. So this means that the market, is coming to the realization that Powell is serious when he says that there will be no interest rate cuts in 2023. But I mean, the market still does not give Powell full credibility. The market still expects it to happen in 2023, this year. They've just pushed that expectation back to November. So it was in September, now it's moved to November. So as I told you before, I always thought that the market was being too aggressive and premature on Fed pivot expectations, and it's turning out to be true. Now, if you made it this far into the video, I'm guessing that you're more serious about investing and the stock market. And I want to tell you this right now. We're offering a free webinar, 100% free.
Yeah, I ain't gonna let him shill you. Not because I care about you. I care about you all. Great info though, right? Why are we even talking about this? Turn my split unit off. Why are we even talking about this, folks? Here's why. Here's why we're talking about this. Mayor of Realville, population 1, right here. We got to set your expectations. I think things could get really weird the back half of this year, folks. I don't know for sure, obviously. But for all the major banks to be calling for recession on the back half of this year, for the data and the information, the historical data about what happens after rate hikes pause or it decreases completely, it pivots. You know, guys, it could be looking kind of bad. We've kind of always said this too. I think I've been talking about this at least for probably about the past 6 months to a year. Let's say, guys, the end of 2023, going into 2024, I think that's when you see the capitulation, the rough stuff. And just remember, folks, just remember that right now, if you think things are bad and you're freaking out and you're worried, it's like being zoomed into one little tiny pixel of the Mona Lisa, or one little tiny paint drop, tiny, and you're seeing this thing and you're like, okay, I don't know, but if you zoom out, and you're going to be able to zoom out with time, you're going to see that you have a masterpiece on your hands if you do the right things. All right, don't get too sucked into this. Expect massive downside. You are going to be emotionally prepared. Right? What do we say? What do we say, guys? We are on a riverbank. Okay, we're on the riverbank, and of a big river. Okay, a large river. And you can kind of see just stuff floating by, and that stuff that's floating by, those are your emotions right now. And you see them. You're on the riverbank, and you see your emotions float. And yeah, maybe that's anger. And just kind of, you look at it, and it kind of floats by, and it's gone. And it just dissipates. Happiness, yeah, you like it while it's there. And happiness, it moves just like anger. It's there, and then it's not. It just kind of floats on by. That's how you got to be with the situation, folks. You're on the riverbank. Your emotions come and go. You can't really control them, but you can control yourself. You can look at them, remove yourself from them, be cool, guys. Especially right now, because there's so many. I mean, dude, there are some straight psychos. I mean, clinical psychotic. There's psychos on Twitter, man. All right. Here's what I'm gonna do. Let me go to this website. We're gonna ask ChatGPT. Do psychopaths exist on social media? What are the telltale signs of a psychopath on Twitter? This should be interesting. All right, here we go. Come on now. All right, lack of empathy. This could manifest in harsh, dismissive, or hostile comments towards others on Twitter, particularly during discussions involving human suffering or injustice. Manipulative behavior. We got manipulators. They may try to deceive or manipulate others for their own gain or amusement, such as spreading misinformation or stirring up conflicts. We don't have any of those. Are you freaking kidding me, Rags? Impulsivity. They might frequently engage in risky or provocative behaviors without considering potential consequences. Well, guys, I consider my potential consequences. Okay. When I'm talking about like Bud Light and all that and tranny water, like that's I consider that. Superficial charm. They might be superficially friendly and charismatic, attempting to win others over to gain influence or control. Narcissism, excessive self-focus, or grandiosity may be evident in their posts. They might constantly brag about their accomplishments or belittle others to make themselves look better. Reckless disregard for others. They might consistently disrespect and ignore the rights, feelings, and safeties of others. Failure to accept responsibility. They might also blame others or external circumstances. Frequent violation of social norms. This might involve repeatedly breaking rules or guidelines on Twitter set by the social media platform or generally accepted online etiquette. Thank God we have nobody on Twitter that exhibits and exudes these sort of characteristics. Thank you, Jesus, Jesus. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Gosh, it's a weird world, folks. It's a weird world. Let's check chat. Don't set the bar too high. Just nice to see a YouTuber without pink hair and a bull ring in his nostril. Boom. Legend has it. Richard Hart called top on the day. Legend does have it. Apparently there's a video of it somewhere. Texas Life, they keep saying stop pushing buttons. And my guess, if you're watching Rag's show, you are probably the one that this message is for. Anyone expecting craziness from this short term is crazy themselves, says Texan Tailgate. It takes time to build energy. That Goku instinct. Well, check back to 5 years with a smile on my full bags. I'm not smart enough to play the short game. I don't want to play the short game either. I mean, Texas Life. I got stuff to do, man. Oh, yeah, guys. All right, gotta say it. I've been out for a little bit now leading up. So I had a baby. Had a sweet little baby girl. Sweet little baby girl. Her name is Avery Rose. Beautiful. 6 pound, 10 ounce. Milk monger. Denier of sleep. A slayer of dreams. That's her. That's what she does. Sweet little girl. Sweet little girl. So I've been out for a while. But we're back. We're in the saddle. We're going to start ramping things back up. It was crazy to happen, right? At Pulse Chain Lot. Here's what's funny, actually. Let me tell you where that child was made. That child was made the PulseCon. PulseCon in Las Vegas. That's where that damn child was made. And that child launched right near Pulse Chain launch. Just tell you all that right now. A little bit wild. So she's going to have a fun little story there. Oh my gosh. My mama and daddy were crazy. It was the tequila. It was the tequila, I tell you. God bless America. Bruh. So we tied the damn tubes. That ain't happening again. Hell no. Hell no. Hey friend, consider looking to the Awesome Nomad project just launched on Pulse Chain. I promise you I will not look into it, RC. If I see it or if you message it to me, maybe I'll look into it, but I won't remember. I want to mostly sit on the sidelines right now, but the pulse dip is hard to not jump on. But I'm with you, and correction still being the cards ahead. Yep. Trying to control your emotions only makes them blow up. It's better to let them flow like a river. Bang, bang, boom. Can you picture Janet Yellen in the background like Hexo has of RH? God. Oh, shoot. I don't know. I could do something crazy. I put a damn Ricky Bobby back there. All right. All right. Congratulations. Yep. Team No Sleep. +1 for Team No Sleep. Little crotch goblins keeping you up all night. Congrats. Yeah, congratulations. Thanks. Hex Quinn. Oh. Everybody's saying, oh. Y'all want to see the baby? I'll show you the baby. If you want to see the baby, I'm going to show you, man. Look, this damn baby's turning me all soft. This ain't going to... Hey, guys. One-time exception. Y'all freaking turning me soft here, man. It's disgusting. Disgusting. All right, let me see if I can share this. Can I share this? There's the baby. They put that damn Vaseline on her eyes when she popped out. That was like, I think she's about 30 minutes old right there. Little Avery Rose, a little happy smiling Bubbit. Maybe a little red hair there. We don't know, man. Maybe a little red hair. I got a little blonde bomber. My son, he's about 5.5. He's blonde. We'll see. Congratulations on your baby girl. Thank you, Sam. I am member of Ginger Folk. If you want to learn how to be a member of Ginger Folk, I'm not telling you. You got to figure it out on your own. I think Hex McKenzie was in there talking about she was talking about wanting to get a wrench in this channel. Guys, I don't give those damn things out. I don't give them out. You got to work for it. Pulse, baby. Anthony Munoz, Facing Reality. Whew. Facing Reality. You ain't got a wrench yet, Facing Reality. Sorry, dude. You got to go through the process, bro. All right, 1-year-old and one coming in August. So I feel what you're feeling, Rags. Tired joy. It's tired joy, man. It's a different type. It's a different type. Different type of love, really. It's like, so I understand grandparents, right? I understand grandparents because hindsight's 2020. They miss out on it. And they go for like 20 or 30 years without kids. They got kids again. They just spoil them and treat them awesome. And they spend all their time with them, this and that. Now I understand where that emotion comes from. Because the first time around, man, with my boy, I was just busting my butt, going to work, working way too much every week. And I just didn't get a lot of time to hang out with him when he was real little. And now I'm like, oh man, redemption. I got redemption. Redemption. So it's good here. Good. All right, Chad D, Power 13. Thanks, man. Beautiful. Benny Blanco, congrats on the kid. Thank you, Benny. Hats off, Benny. Everybody, -1 in chat for Benny. -1 in chat for Benny. Good eating. Win Pulse Chain. Win Lambo. Win life changing money. It is scary. Is it scary having kids on? At first, I was like, my first kid, we had the kid, and like 3 days after we had the kid, they let us out of the hospital, and I was like, wait, y'all just gonna let us take this thing home? I'm not responsible enough for that. I'm just gonna take this human thing home and put it like, what do I do? Like, are y'all cool with that? Like, jeez, kind of freaked me out, man. So yeah, but it's easy. Anthony, here's what I gotta say, Anthony. This is what I gotta say to everybody. Some of y'all have kids, some of y'all don't. You got all the stuff in you already to take care of the kid. It's programmed into you. You can't screw it up. Rags, how dare that's not medical advice. That's just not medically sound. That's just not sound, Rags. There needs to be proper guys. Shut up. Freaking animals could do it out in the wild. And generations and generations and thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of years of offspring with no doctors, no written books. Guys, guess what? We got that same stuff in us. I know it. I've seen it. Don't freak out. So Munoz, you'd be good, man. You'd be good. I'm trying to convince my wife to let me hire like a hot Esperanza or something come in the house. For some reason, she's against it. I just don't get it, man. You know, just help out around the house. Little nanny. Crypto Truth, Rags Riches, what is up? You'll find that despite the parents, the kids will be fine. 4 kids wouldn't change a thing, Mobius says. Yep, bingo. Getting away from crypto. Go Miami Heat. Humberto Gonzalez from sunny South Florida. Game 1. Boston Celtics. Celtics. Versus Miami Heat. Heat. I need to have one more kid to make it 3, 4 potentially in the cards. Hey, man. Go forth, prosper, multiply. Here's what I would say, okay? The only people in this chat that I just wouldn't suggest reproduce. Who y'all think, man? Who y'all think shouldn't be reproducing the shit? Where's DJ and Dougie Peach? DJ and Dougie, man, I hope you did daggone reproduce, man. Gee, God. That's one hell of a wild gene pool, man. Woo! There's some crazy mitochondria in that. All right, Freeman Preach. Yep, Sam I am. 4 kids wouldn't change. It's great, man. It's honestly, I know this sounds crazy. Y'all know if you have kids, it's the biggest gift and blessing you could possibly ever have. Ever, 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 ever. Awesome. Awesome. Not the Celtics, Rags. Game 1 against Denver. Oh, Celtics. I must have been half asleep. There you go. Sorry, Larry. My bad, Larry. I set your expectations wrong. Larry Bird's in my top 5, by the way, all time. If I want to take a team, I'm putting Larry Bird on that roster. IQ out of this world. Trash talk, defense, crazy white boy shot. I know the dollar cost game, but I'm tempted to throw in 10K into PLS right now. It looks like the bottom. I'm a sacrificer. That's what up. But one more. Temper your emotions, young Padawan. Temper. Thank you very much for the $4.99 chat. That will go to Facing Reality's collect calls this summer. Texan OG Day 1 said, yeah, snip. We snipped it. It's like a burn. It's like a sizzle instead, I think. There ain't no snip about it. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as a quick reminder.
Rags to riches. Do not like, comment, or subscribe.
Rags out.
Thank you.